After a long wait, the 2020 NBA draft is finally in the books, and now it's time to evaluate how each team did. The top 3 prospects in LaMelo, Wiseman, and Edwards went in the top 3 as expected, but there were a couple of surprises throughout the first round. There was a lot of movement throughout the night as usual, and it was hard to keep track of which team the prospects will end up with. Along with plenty of prospects getting drafted, there also were a lot of players that were involved in trades that included at least one pick from this draft. That will be taken into account in my draft grades. Some teams walked away as losers, some walked away as winners. In this video, I will give you my draft grades of the 2020 NBA draft. Let's start with the team with the number 1 pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They did everything they could to try to get the best value out of this number 1 pick. Getting a proven veteran star would have been ideal for a team in Minnesota's position, but it wasn't meant to be. Because of the 2 stars on the team in D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns, drafting LaMelo or Wiseman didn't really make any sense. Anthony Edwards was the best choice for this team. He was the cleanest fit on the roster, and his talent level is right up there with those other 2 guys. Edwards has been often compared to players like Dwayne Wade, Donovan Mitchell, and Victor Oladipo. Those guys obviously have talent, but what separated them from the rest was their work ethic, doing the dirty work, hustling for loose balls, putting that extra time in to affect the game in more ways than one. Edwards' size and talent matches those 3 guys for the most part, but is he going to put in the work to be the best he can be? Who knows, but if he does, he will be worthy of this selection. The Timberwolves actually did turn a pick into a veteran player. It wasn't the first pick, but it was the 17th pick. They dealt their 17th pick and fell back in the draft and added 2 late first round picks and also acquired a familiar face, Ricky Rubio, the player that was drafted by this franchise back in 2009. Rubio had a great year with the Phoenix Suns last year and was one of the main reasons why the Suns won their most games in 5 years. His defense and playmaking will be a welcome addition to the Timberwolves. The Wolves have a veteran point guard that can play along with and behind D'Angelo Russell. I believe James Johnson will have to be included in this trade to make it work. If that's the case, Ricky Rubio will be the oldest player on the team at age 29. Along with getting Rubio in the trade, they acquired the 23rd pick, which they used to draft the guard out of Argentina, Leandro Barmero. This 19-year-old has the passing gift of a player like Ricky Rubio. He stands at 6'7" and is extremely well-rounded. He's a hell of a pick-and-roll player. He has the time and the instincts to thrive on the next level. His feel for the game is incredible for a player his age. His only weakness at this point is his outside jump shot. Balmero will more than likely stay overseas for the time being in Barcelona. We could see him in a Timberwolves uniform probably as early as the 2021-22 season. And the last pick from that Rubio trade was the 28th pick, and they chose a player with major upside in Jaden McDaniels. Early in the college basketball season, I had McDaniels going in the top 5 in the draft, but inconsistency and immaturity caused him to fall in the draft. But the talent is definitely there. With already 2 other first-round picks, the Timberwolves could afford to take a gamble on a player like this. Jaden McDaniels stands around 6'10", with the ability to score from anywhere and can also play, make, and defend. He just turned 20 years old, and he needs a lot of time and patience to round out his game. Getting stronger is a must, and he has to cut down on his turnovers. I see him playing in the G League for the foreseeable future. What the Timberwolves needed from this draft was more talent and a veteran presence. They accomplished that. They got 3 prospects with great upside and a talented veteran player in Ricky Rubio. I give the Timberwolves an A. I believe the Utah Jazz made the biggest reach of any team in the NBA on draft night. After trading back from 23 to 27, they took the big man out of Kansas, Udoka Azubuike. Most draft experts had him being drafted in the late 2nd round, if not undrafted. But the Jazz decided to draft the big man in the 1st round. Everybody knows where the NBA is going right now. If you're a big man, you need to be versatile. You need to be able to be nimble enough to guard outside the paint and be able to shoot from the outside. Azubuike doesn't do that. The opposing team is going to exploit him heavily in the high screen pick and roll. He did have impressive measurements at the combine, but the Jazz could have drafted him with their second-round pick. They needed more help at the point guard position. With their 39th pick, the Jazz went with Elijah Hughes from Syracuse. Hughes did have a breakout season last year as he proved to be a consistent scorer by leading the ACC in scoring. Hughes is a solid selection, but I have a hard time seeing him get any playing time behind Bogdanovich, Joe Ingles, or Royce O'Neal. With the Jazz competing to be one of the top 5 teams in the Western Conference, there will be limited opportunities for him to show what he can do. Hughes could be another second-round pick that gets drafted by a playoff contender that never gets off the bench. I feel that the Jazz could have gone with players like Malachi Flynn, RJ Hampton, or Terrell Terry with their first-round pick. The players that make the most impact in the league are perimeter players. You obviously have exceptions like Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic, but for the most part, the best play the guard or wing position. I give the Utah Jazz a C-. The Denver Nuggets have one of the most talented young teams in the league. Having a chance to add more talent is just icing on the cake. With their first pick at 22, they selected the big man out of Arizona, Zeke Nnaji. The player that I'm reminded of when I see Zeke play is Kenneth Faried, the former Denver Nugget. Plays with a high motor, can finish around the rim, and is relentless on the glass. But Nnaji has more offensive upside than Faried. Nnaji shows great footwork when scoring in the paint. He also shot 76% from the free throw line, and some believe he can eventually become a solid outside shooter from mid-range and possibly from three-point range. The more consistent he can be on offense, the more playing time he'll get. I believe Nnaji has a chance to get some playing time in his rookie year. The Nuggets have been known to take advantage of highly touted prospects dropping in the draft. They possibly did it again this year. RJ Hampton might not be the star player that many scouts thought he could be, but he can still be an impact player. He has good size at 6'5", is athletic, can play make, and has good speed and quickness. The only question is his jump shot, and he has been working tirelessly to improve it. The Nuggets added more talented pieces to an already talented young team. The Nuggets front office continues to capitalize on other teams' mistakes. I give the Denver Nuggets an A-. All of the players that the Oklahoma City Thunder drafted will most likely not suit up for them next season, and that's perfectly fine. It's all about the future for OKC. They have stockpiled first-round picks in the last 2 years more than any other team I can remember. OKC knew who they wanted in the draft, and they used their 2 late first-round picks to move up in the draft to get them. They selected big man Aleksej Pokusevski, the 7-footer who moves like a guard, shoots like a guard, and dribbles like a guard. A possible unicorn. And if any prospect needed more time to develop, it's this guy. He only weighs 200 pounds. He's nowhere close to be ready to compete with the big boys in the NBA. With more time, Pokusevski could be one of the biggest steals in the draft, but it will take some time. Teo Maledon was OKC's first second-round pick at number 34. Teo is a first-round talent. He stands at around 6'4", 6'5", plays with great fundamentals, can score, and has a nice feel for the game. He started playing professionally at the age of 16. He won't blow you away with his speed. He's more of a crafty type of player. He's more far along than Pokusevski, but he also needs more time to develop before playing in the NBA. With their 37th pick, they selected Vic Krejci from the Czech Republic. I believe he has more upside than Teo. Krejci is a 6'7" point guard who is a strong athlete, and when healthy has shown signs of versatility. 2 months ago he tore his ACL and won't be on any court anytime soon. He hasn't played that much on a professional level at this point of his career, and even without the ACL tear, he would have been a draft and stash prospect. OKC didn't need to draft a player that could play right away. They just needed to find a player with tons of potential. I give the Oklahoma City Thunder a B+. The Portland Trailblazers are still trying to compete for a championship. Whether they have the roster needed is another question. But they certainly made a good move to strengthen their team and put them in better position to finish in the top of the Western Conference. Instead of using their 16th pick on a player that probably won't be able to contribute right away, the Blazers traded that pick for one of the best role players in the league, Robert Covington. This guy just simply helped you win games. The Blazers had one of the best offenses in the league last season, but they were absolutely horrible on defense. Not only does Covington improve your defense, he also makes the offense more efficient. The true definition of a 3-and-D player. The only pick that the Blazers made was for Washington State guard CJ Elleby. They drafted him with the 46th pick. Elleby is a player that plays with high energy and is known for his outside shot. He competes hard on the glass as he averaged just under 8 rebounds per game in his sophomore season. He loves to play the passing lanes. He finished with the 6th most rebounds and the most steals in the Pac-12. If this 6'6" guard want to be more than a shooter on the next level, he will have to improve his ball handling. There's a chance he could find his way into the rotation eventually, but like most second-round picks, nothing is guaranteed. You just have to be ready when the opportunity presents itself. The Blazers made a good move to get them somewhere closer to championship contention, and they also used their second-round pick on a talented 2 guard. I give the Portland Trailblazers a B-.